fire, right? In Revelation. What about the red suit? We're told by the scriptures in Revelation 19:13, I believe it is, that tells us that Christ has a suit, is like a vesture dipped in blood. That makes it red, doesn't it? Why would Santa choose a red suit? He's mocking God is what he's doing. When does Santa come? Somewhere around midnight? And nobody really knows when he's coming? What about Jesus Christ? Nobody knows the hour that he's going to come in, right?
That's right.
It's a mystery, isn't it? Right? Now Santa also lives in an ice palace, crystal palace it's called, ice palace. Now, where did he get that from? Revelation 21:18 tells us that the city will be like jasper unto pure gold, like unto clear glass, we're told. So that's another counterfeit. Santa also, he's tended by what? Elves? Mysterious elves? Well, isn't God tended by mysterious creatures called angels? They are mysterious also. Do you see a counterfeit, friends, between Santa Claus and Jesus Christ? There's a definite counterfeit there. There's more. But Santa Claus, first of all, he does not exist. And we need to tell our children the naked truth. That son, daughter, Santa is really a fictitious creature. He's a counterfeit Jesus Christ. The attributes that belong to God himself, Santa has taken on for himself. That makes it blasphemy. That's dangerous. That's extremely dangerous. Blasphemy is what Santa, he's committing blasphemy. And for us to think it's such a cute thing, we make up songs about Santa. Oh, Santa's kissing mommy under the mistletoe. If mommy's married, what in the world business she got doing kissing Santa under the mistletoe? You see how serious that is, that we make a joke out of it? That is serious. Unless Santa is daddy. If Santa is daddy, then there's no big deal. He's daddy that we see every day. But no, Santa is kissing mommy, kissing Santa under the mistletoe. Now something is wrong with that picture, because the mistletoe, that little thing is supposed, when you hang a mistletoe up during the Christmas season, anybody that walks on that mistletoe is supposed to get a kiss, right? Or something like that. What is that promoting? If unmarried people walk up under that mistletoe, that you do that in celebration of the birth of Christ. Oh friends, if you're asleep, please wake up. This is not a toy. This is serious business. Santa is a counterfeit Jesus Christ. The whole Christmas season is out of whack with reality. It's nothing that will lead us to Jesus Christ. Now I understand there's some groups that say, well, we don't do that when we celebrate Christ, the birth of Christ. Well, we only do this, that, and the other. Do you know that the whole thing is tainted? The whole system is tainted. Why do you have to wait for December 25th to celebrate the birth of Christ if that's what you want to do? Why can't you do it April 10th? Why can't you do it June 21st? Why can't you do it any day of the year? If you want to celebrate the birth of Christ, first of all, how must we celebrate the birth of Christ? Guess what? There's nothing in this book that tells me how to celebrate the birth of Christ. Matter of fact, it's not even mentioned in here. There's nothing even said that I ought to celebrate the birth of Christ. There's nothing even tell me that I should remember the birth of Christ. Matter of fact, we're told to have communion to remember Christ, aren't we? He said, do this in remembrance of me, and to show the Lord's death till he comes. So we're supposed to be having communion, friends, not celebrating Christmas. And guess what? If you're going to celebrate the birth of Christ, why in the world would you give everybody gifts but Christ? How would you like for somebody to have a party in your house for somebody else, give them all the gifts on your birthday, and don't give you any? Is something wrong with that picture? See, so if you're going to insist on celebrating the birth of Christ, then the gifts should be given to Christ. What you should need to do then is do something simple. Like, for example, if you're in the store and you see something as simple as toilet paper or paper towels that your commandment-keeping church needs. Notice I said your commandment-keeping church. That your commandment-keeping church needs, buy that for them. If you want to celebrate the birth of Christ, which has nothing to do with the birth of Christ, but if you just feel so you're so obligated to buy a gift for Christ, buy something that the commandment-keeping church can use. If you want to do that, that's fine. God wouldn't be against that. because you're giving to Christ. You see a neighbor in need, provide for that need. You're doing the work of Christ by doing that. Why must we wait on a particular day or season to do that? We should do the work when it's needed. That's my admonition to you, is that if you want to do something for Christ, don't delay. Don't worry about what day it is. Any day is appropriate to do the proper thing for Christ. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I want you to really think about it. So the next Christmas season that comes up, I want you to remember everything. I hope the Holy Spirit will bring back everything that you've heard through this audio, through this file, this audio video, and that you will consider it and decide for yourself whether it makes sense to you or not. I hope it makes sense. If it does not make sense, then I invite you to go to your closet and pray fervently and ask the Lord to lead and guide you as to what He would have you to do. Because I'm going to tell you something, friends. If you adopt what I just said as the truth, you're going to have some enemies. You're going to make some enemies from your family and your friends and at your workplace. Because you will refuse to partake in the foolishness come Christmas season. You won't be drawing names anymore at Christmas season to bring gifts in. That has nothing to do with Christ. And the gift that most people bring has nothing to do with drawing anybody any closer to Christ. Matter of fact, look at the average toy up under a pagan Christmas tree, and a lot of that stuff now is dealing with demonic activity. Demon dolls, demon toys, fight, destroy, destruction, blow them up. Right? PlayStations, Xboxes. What's on PlayStation and Xboxes that Christ could condone? Can you think of anything? I mean, I don't have one, never seen one. I read enough about them to know. I've seen enough advertisement in papers and magazines, even on the internet, of things that they've advertised that is to send you in junk mail that will play on these PlayStations and Xboxes. And what I have seen has not been gospel, friends. I don't think I've seen any gospel at all on either one of those. Not that they're not in it, but I have not seen any. So I would venture as far to say that the majority of the games that's played on PlayStation and Xbox are demonic. They are demon oriented. They are satanic and has no place in a Christian home. So your home atmosphere has got a lot to do with the raising of your family, your children. If you allow your children to partake in some of this foolishness, then you are held responsible. You are steward of that child. You are responsible for shaping and molding that child's character. That character should be shaped from the Holy Bible itself. This has all the rules, all the regulations, all of the examples that we need to follow to shape and mold our character. The words of the prophets is what we should be feeding our children with, not the words of Satan, not the activity of Satan, not these foolish games that Satan has been so prevalent in the world. Don't be surprised if a lot of this stuff becomes free or extremely cheap, because Satan wants his word to get out. His word is that God is a liar. His word is that we don't need to follow God to be saved. His word is that we can follow Him and still be saved. His word is as long as we got love one for another, we can break all the commandments and it really doesn't matter, because it's really not a standard that we need to be concerned about. That Christ has done away with all of that and we're free to do whatever we want to do. That's the theme that Satan has promoted, and he's promoted it well. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is a lie. The truth is not in Satan. He's out to destroy you. He's out to use you to destroy other people. So please do not allow Satan to use you to advance his theme and to spread his lies and to teach his heresy to your children and to other children and to anybody for that matter. So again, I'd like to admonish that you will go to your closet. This is where the strength is. And when I say your closet, again, I don't mean necessarily a little room, in a little door in the closet where you hang your clothes. That is a closet. The closet I'm talking about now is the privacy of your mind. The silent prayer, where Satan can't even hear what you're praying about. That is the closet that I'm speaking. Anytime you hear me on any of these videos that you hear me speak of the closet, I want you to bear in mind this is what I'm talking about. The closet of your mind, the privacy of your heart. Speak to God there. and commune with him, and he will commune with him, and ask for his guidance and be serious about it. But not only that, be willing to follow the guide that he will render to you. He's not derelict in his duty. God cannot fail. If you ask him, he will answer.